Well, we have to see if this stream is running. So I guess it's pretty clear, you know, who this video is about. Here we go. I guess it's pretty clear. Seems like it's working. All right, I don't like Joe Biden. I haven't liked Joe Biden for years and years. I said something snarky about him on Facebook, which to me is just my family. And, and then afterwards I realized people think you're just, I don't know, they think you're just picking up rumors like they are about guys. I haven't liked Biden since forever. The first I remember kind of knowing about him, and so it's a long time ago, was the Anita Hill hearings. But I probably heard about him before then. He is a conservative Democrat. Um, and, they call him centrist, but I don't think it's really centrist when you're for the Patriot Act. I mean, he's so much for the Patriot Act. He's bragged that it was really his idea back in the Timothy McVeigh. He had a bill like that. He's for the Iraq War, and on and on and on and on and on. He just has, you know, positions that are not center. They're what the conservative should be. Like a reasonable conservative. I'm not saying he couldn't do a good job in some role in government, or that, hey, maybe he did a good job as vice president. That's, I don't know, that he did a bad job. They say he did a lot of that work. There's things you could put him on, there's things you couldn't. Um, I think, well, I was going to say he's a hard worker. He's not a hard worker necessarily, as far as I know, but he's active, takes part. Um, but I don't like his positions, and that's for decades and decades. And he's a bad campaigner as well. If you just want somebody that can beat Trump, that's the stupidest idea. This is a guy that gets tripped up and says stupid, embarrassing things. Not embarrassing things like, oh my God, can you believe what he said? But like he's embarrassed by them. Like, oops, it's obvious. So, for example, I just saw a clip, I didn't see the whole thing, of him on The View. They asked him about Anita Hill. Why'd you wait, 25 years or 28 years or whatever it is to call and apologize? And he's like, well, I didn't want to invade her space. Like, how everybody's saying, yeah, Joe, we know, yeah, you're totally against invading space. It's like, that thing everybody says that I do? I didn't want to do that in this case. I was being thoughtful the last 30 years while I did it to everybody. Oh my God. No, it's because you invade people's space, and so you're like, maybe this was just a misunderstanding. I've had this happen. Oh, he's embarrassed. He says embarrassing things. He has embarrassing connections. He does embarrassing things. He has terrible, terrible policies. And then to be totally disclosure, that's what I don't like about him. Um, he, I mean, for the surveillance state, for torture, for all of this stuff, big tough, you know. So the thing is, yeah, I'll vote for anybody over Trump. But I've realized I have a line which is dependent on how much the Democrats are going to stab progressives in the back. Now, I'm not a fan of the whole Jimmy Dore, Jamal Thomas kind of, uh, or even Glenn Greenwald, the Russian witch hunt. We had to investigate him. He was lying about it. There were reports about it. Turns out, yeah, he was lying about it. So we had to get to the bottom of it. Whether there was a crime or not, great that there wasn't a crime in that part of it or that we found. Um, we had to do that. I'm not like Jimmy Dore's attitude for anybody that's watching him or knows what I'm referring to on the left is. And I will vote for these guys. And even if the party rigs things a little bit, and the reason is because parties are corrupt to begin with because they're there to rig things. Like, let's say you have some communist running and he wants to run in the Republican Party and he convinces a bunch of people to go that are communists to go register as Republicans and does like a hostile takeover. The party is actually there. Now, I'm not supporting this. I don't think this is a good way to run politics, though there's arguments for what else would you do? Like, it's the worst way to do it, but what else would you do? But it's supposed to filter. And the Democratic Party believes filtering out, extremists, which they consider people with progressive policies to be, as a part of their job. So even if it's rigged, where which is, I'm saying I'm being super liberal with you guys. Even if you schedule the debates on Joe's birthday or whatever. But I'm warning you, there's a lot of people that's already across their line. And it's not in the Democratic Party's best interest because they need to have the Farm League to find out who can play ball. And I'll tell you, Joe cannot play ball. He's a fucking terrible campaigner. Um, Besides the terrible positions. But anyway, um, if he tries to throw, AOC or Ilhan Omar or one of these congressional freshmen or anybody like that under the bus to prove that he's conservative, to try to get fuck those Republican suburban people. Not literally, but I mean in the sense of if these Democratic politicians are going to go for them, they're alienating me, and I'm about my last straw. If you badmouth or try to throw some young person that's the future of my hopes in politics under the bus, then screw you. I can't keep you close. I can't vote for you because you're just using that to stab me in the back. That's what Joe represents. So here's who the top 5 picks in subject to change in the Democratic primary. So Bernie, absolutely Bernie, because he has good policies. He knows what the prescription is, and if he did even half of those things, or even any one of his ideas in 4 years, it would leave the country a better place. Then actually, Mike Gravel, even though I'm in a ranked choice state, I get to actually rank these guys. So I don't think he really wants to be president per se. It's definitely an issue candidacy, but I'll vote for that issue because, I don't know. This is one that's subject to change because I don't know. I don't remember that much about him, but he's famous for being pretty cool, trying to stop the draft, I think. Something to do with the Pentagon Papers. Maybe he helped read him into the record or one of these kinds of things. And I saw a couple interviews of him, and he's pretty good. But he seems to be running as an issue candidate, as Bernie was in 2016. This is something progressives have learned. You can run a candidate that gets things into the conversation, and then maybe they can do really well. Tulsi, now I'm really suspicious of Tulsi, but she's my number 3 pick, and I'll tell you why. Again, I've always been suspicious of her because I was in local politics, working in it. I mean, I'm not a politician, but working in it, and my now wife was, and I ran into Frank Gabbard, and he's like a God hates fags Republican, and also Hare Krishna, but not Hare Krishna because they split off from the Hare Krishna, but Hare Krishna. So she's like a Hindu Hare Krishna with a God hates Republican type, God hates fags type Republican dad, and I don't want to hold that against her, and maybe that's bigoted. And when you look at her actual policies, I'm pretty much down for it. She has some policies about foreign policy that's a little hawkish for me, but not super hawkish. Less hawkish than most Democrats. Plus, she talks about it, and it's like the thing she's hawkish about, she's mentioning, and the fact that she doesn't want to dive into war, she's mentioning. She might have a grudge against Muslims, but I believe she doesn't want to get in a perpetual war with them. So I just have to go with her because, maybe my severe doubts and suspicion and paranoia about her is just a bigotry. And then Warren, with reluctance, because I like her. She's another moderate Republican type, is where she's coming from when she was younger, but then she did all that bankruptcy research and found out it was not mostly deadbeatism, but people with medical bankruptcies, and she helped in that whole research that now we all know that that's the leading cause of it, and it made her realize, okay, wait, here's the real thing about the economy, and I love the fact that she wants to police the banks, but I think she's good as a senator or as an attorney general or something. Um, she's a terrible campaigner, is my belief, um, and is better as a powerful advisor, secretary, or senator. Senator, she's good as a senator. Why not spend your time there? And then my fifth thing is in a concession to the establishment people. Now, I dislike Harris. Harris is my fifth choice, but that's my concession. There's probably ones I would take before in a way, but none of these Buttigieg or uh, that Texan guy. Um, I hate that she could have prosecuted like Mnuchin and the bankers, and I consider her a part of the old corruption. She's kind of in close, uh, the good old boys gang, as they would say. But of the establishment candidates, I think she's smart. I don't think her past crimes are an indication that she's always going to do exactly that. I think the corruption is that she gave in to the powers that be as a lower level politician, which attorney generals are to a certain degree, even though they have all this prosecutorial power. There's also a lot of pressure for more powerful politicians. They're helping support them. And so that's not good that she would cave to that. I kind of think that's what happened. On the other hand, she's smart. I think she's hardworking. And, compared to Buttigieg, Lord, and so on, I don't. Uh, I prefer. So that's my concession to complete the list with, yeah, I'll vote for one of these establishment Democrats if you honestly win your own primary. That's all. You have to do that. So, so I was checking this here. Let me check comments. J. Troy Doe says, hello. Well, hello to you too. Hello. Thank you for your comment. It wasn't hello either. It's hello with a U, which is, novel. Helps the street. Okay. Notice I used a young picture of Joe Biden.